The Flat Earth Brothers were a channel I used to debunk back in the day. I haven't seen them much in the last few years, but recently came across a video from them regarding the final experiment. I was keen to see their opinion on it and whether or not it would change their minds. Hello all and welcome along to another video with me, Simon Dan. Thanks very much for joining me. Okay then, on with today's video, which as I said in the intro comes from the Flat Earth Brothers and their preview of the final experiment. We are now nearly at a year later since Flat Earthers and Globe Earthers all travelled to Antarctica to prove that the sun does indeed spend 24 hours in the sky during the summer solstice period in Antarctica. The Flat Earth Brothers think that apparently this is not the final observation. Let's have a look.
Welcome back, family. I wanted to share some thoughts and insights into the final experiment that I've had recently. My heart has definitely changed over the last couple days about this, as I have just had this feeling that something is off. Something's not right, especially with the way this is just now happening for the first time, and kind of like the pandemic, things were given away for free, and it just wasn't sitting right with me. However, yesterday I was thinking about what I've been doing for a living, all the research we have done as a truth family, all the things that our Father has revealed to us, and how blessed we are to be seeing what we have seen. And so I wanted to go over why the fact that no matter what happens with the final so-called experiment that is actually just an observation, no matter what happens with it, I am not going to let that be final.
After it seemed to start well, it's now descended into the usual Flat Earth rhetoric. Not great, is it, that they won't accept any result? And something I predicted would happen with the final experiment.
And there's a reason. And it has nothing to do with denying science. It has everything to do with our Father's provable truth of creation that we have been putting to the test, and it passes the test every single time.
That's literally the opposite of science. If you decide the conclusion before the test is just theatre. If no evidence can change your mind, then that is denying science. The Earth doesn't have to approve some emotional approval tests.
For example, when we looked at world record long distance photos and we saw that 3/4 of a mile of curve was missing, that was not our final observation.
And it also doesn't prove that 3/4 of a mile of curvature are missing either. We've debunked this before several times on the channel, but the gist of it is you see just the right amount of that mountain in the distance based on your elevation where the photo was taken.
And when people put their camera 1 foot off the ground and filmed a horizon miles beyond where it should be, that was not our final observation.
No, because when that particular photo is repeated, you don't get the same result, which means the refraction on that day of that photo was extraordinary.
When researchers took lasers and shined them over the surface of water, and both the reflection on the water and the laser itself were seen at a distance of 21.03 miles, that was not our final observation.
The problem here is that lasers don't travel in perfectly straight lines through air. Air density changes with temperature and humidity, which of course causes refraction. And that of course bends light downward.
And when later on more researchers repeated a similar observation with a laser traveling 35.5 miles, proving that the target wasn't hidden by 700 feet like it should have been on the globe, that wasn't our final observation.
Flat Earthers never include refraction coefficients in their calculations. The Earth is curved and the atmosphere bends light. Now, over long distances near the surface, refractions can lift distant objects and light sources into view. This is exactly how mirages, looming ships and false horizons can happen.
And when we found footage of the firmament that reveals our Father's handiwork, that wasn't our final observation.
It also wasn't a photo of the firmament.
And when we found out that replicating such footage requires a barrier, that wasn't our final observation.
No, that was playing with a plasma ball thinking that it acts like our atmosphere.
And when we saw that Polaris is stationary throughout the year and a star on Orion's belt called Mintaka stays on the equator all year, while the sun meanwhile goes up and down above the equator drastically as it changes its path, that wasn't our final observation.
Yes, because stars don't wander. The Earth's tilt explains why the sun moves north and south each year, whilst the stars remain fixed relative to each other.
That this world was immovable. And when Guglielmo Marconi sent a line-of-sight signal 2,100 miles across the Atlantic in 1901, and we found out about that, that wasn't our final observation.
But in 1901, they didn't understand the ionosphere yet. We do now. Long-wave radio signals bounce off the ionosphere, which means they travel far beyond the horizon. This is called skywave propagation. It's literally how shortwave radio works today.
And when we did some more research and found out that the same signal has been sent from England to Australia for a distance of 10,638 miles, that wasn't our final observation.
If Earth were flat, you wouldn't need ionospheric reflection at all. A straight beam would simply travel forever, but it doesn't. Once the ionosphere is disturbed, like in storms for example, those long distance signals vanish. That behaviour only makes sense if the surface curves, and the signal needs the atmosphere to bridge the gap.
And when plane flight footage at night revealed that the stars don't rise like they should on a globe with a plane tipping its nose down, that wasn't our final observation either.
An aircraft does not need to keep dipping its nose to follow Earth's curvature. It simply maintains level flight relative to air pressure, and air pressure follows the curve of the Earth. What is he talking about here?
And when we started researching pendulums, only to find out that researchers attempted to use them at the South Pole and had them going the wrong direction, that wasn't our final observation.
That South Pole researcher originally calculated the direction backwards, and then the pendulum behaved exactly as the globe Earth model predicts.
And when we saw that sunlight, according to reality, doesn't match what we were taught it did with Eratosthenes, that wasn't our final observation.
But it does. It's not our fault that you look at it incorrectly.
Even though we can use it to prove that the sun is close, and that it's not doing the things they say it's doing during eclipses. And when we saw that rainbows caused by light shining through the firmament get shorter as you go to Antarctica, that was not our final observation.
It doesn't. The size of the rainbow depends on a lot of things. The elevation of the sun, the observer's position, the density of water droplets in the air. Not latitude, not Antarctica, and not a dome.
And when we saw that the flat biblical world that we believe in was mentioned in declassified documents right there along with the firmament, that wasn't our final observation either.
He says that a flat biblical world and the word firmament appear in classified documents. So that proves it's real, does it? No. Assuming a flat Earth makes flight training easier, for example.
There's many, many more observations that have been made and many more to be made. But the one that's going to seal the deal for everybody, it's going to happen when the Messiah returns, when the heavens part like a scroll and every eye sees him. That's going to be some people's final observation.
I'm afraid that will not be any sort of observation. Not going to happen, buddy.
I don't want that to be anyone's final observation. I want them to continue to see reality after this point. I want them to be brought up above the events that are going to unfold and be blessed with a great inheritance. And so our final observation is not their final observation, and their observations are not going to be the final say in reality. The truth about creation is provable. You can put it to the test in many different ways, and it's going to hold up to the investigation.
Except it never has, like ever. Trust me, I've looked extensively.
And so I encourage everyone to be at peace and understand that even if what is about to happen is a lying sign and wonder or some sort of deception, it's okay. Our Father has allowed them to happen many, many times throughout creation, during our lives, continually. We still have rocket launches going on all the time. We had the fake moon missions going on before most of us were born. We had lying signs and wonders in Egypt before the people were set free. The Father allowed them to happen. And if he allows a lying sign and wonder to happen, don't question his judgment. He has given us all a chance to believe his words over man, and we must believe them.
Of course, the most interesting thing about all of this is I looked through their channel and they did not once mention the final experiment ever again. I wonder if that's because it destroyed their flat earth model that they love so dearly. Interesting, hey? And that is where we're going to end today's video. Please do let me know in the comments below what you thought of the Flat Earth Brothers video. As I say, we're all done and dusted for another one. Thanks so much for watching today. As ever, it's appreciated. If you enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the thumbs up button too. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow for more Standing for Truth. He's back again. See you then.